Hi, my name is Ron Ganser. Currently, I work at StarNet as a consultant for 3 to 5 year olds, and my background is as a social worker as well as an educator, and I ended my career as a preschool through 5th grade principal in District 146, Tinley Park. Today, I'm going to be talking about overall social and emotional development for students ages 3, 4, and 5. The next slide is just going to give you some basically recommended practices that I will be covering. Just take a moment to review that so you understand what the goal of this seminar is. So I'm going to be looking at some social emotional milestones, and I'm going to be commenting on some specific ones that you may see at ages 3, 4, and 5. But please remember that individual differences exist when it comes to the exact age at which children may meet these milestones. Milestones are not checklists with which to judge children's development. Rather, they provide a guide for when to expect certain skills or behaviors to emerge in young children, so you are prepared to meet their changing needs. Think of these milestones as guidelines to help you understand and identify typical patterns of growth and development in preschoolers. Although skills often will develop in predictable sequence over the preschool years, each child is unique in when they will master each skill. Your goal is to help all children grow and learn to their potential. Here are some typical milestones for kids ages 3, 4, and 5. At age 3, children should be able to make believe with dolls, animals, and people. They will copy adults and other friends. They notice other children and join them in play. They will show affection for friends without prompting. They show concern for a crying friend. They may show a wide range of emotions. And they usually will be able to calm down within 10 minutes, especially if you are not in the room or nearby. They may get upset with major changes in a routine. At age 4, students are interested in new experiences. They may pretend to be something or someone else during play, such as a teacher, dog, superhero. Make-believe play is more creative and complex at age 4. They may be able to dress and undress themselves. They often would rather play with other children than alone. They can name 2 or more friends. They may also comfort others who are hurt or sad. They are more able to cooperate with other children. They often can't tell what's real and what's make-believe yet. They talk about what they like and what they are interested in. Many kids at this age also like to be a helper. Changes in behavior are based sometimes on where they are in their environment they're in. They may start to be able to avoid danger and be aware of danger, like not jumping from tall heights on the playground. At age 5, kids will want to please friends. They want to be like their friends. They often will follow rules when playing games with others. They will take turns when playing games with other children. They may show that they have an interest in singing, dancing, or acting. They are more aware of gender differences. They can tell what's real and what's make-believe. They show more independence. They're able to do more simple chores at home, and they are able to tell you their first and last name and their age. Be aware that expectations about developmental milestones are driven by cultural values and preferences. For example, in some cultures, children are not expected to feed themselves independently until they are 3 or 4 years old. In other cultures, children are expected to start eating independently in early infancy and toddlerhood. Know that as adults, we share our cultural values and beliefs with children through daily interactions. Ideas, beliefs, and expectations about children's development. Become aware of and respect these differences can help you better understand how families' experiences help shape the preschoolers in your classroom. Take a moment to look at this page here regarding social emotional learning. Preschool age children are learning to talk about their feelings and the feelings of others. Social emotional development, however, involves more than just expressing emotions. It involves taking turns, becoming independent and following routines, interacting more with peers, engaging in meaningful relationships with others, controlling emotions, and developing a positive self-image. These skills are crucial for children's successful participation in school and home experiences and for their overall growth. So what is self-awareness? Simply put, it's becoming aware of oneself. Why is self-awareness so important? Take a moment to read this slide. There are many benefits of self-awareness, including higher levels of emotional intelligence, the ability to empathize, be more compassionate and kind, better communication and listening skills, critical thinking skills, the ability to make better decisions, stronger relationships, and better leadership skills. Ways kids learn self-awareness skills. This is a very important aspect of a child learning about themselves. And this is done through learning from you and other important adults in their lives. They're learning how to express feelings, becoming effective problem solvers, gaining estimation and prediction skills, becoming empathetic towards others, doing self-reflection every day, and understanding their own brain and how it works. Kids learn from you. As in anything with teaching children, often student behaviors and actions begin with us. Pre-K students do not always have the vocabulary to accurately identify their emotions. It is important to provide them with vocabulary for different emotions and teach them what different emotions feel like. When students can identify their emotions, they can think about what causes them to feel that way. Name the feelings that you are experiencing and talk about why you are feeling them. Students, especially the younger ones, need this modeling to build the skills in themselves. It also creates awareness that everyone feels emotions and makes you more relatable to your students. Model feeling big and small emotions and talk about the difference between the two. Learn how to express feelings. It's really important that you understand the difference between you statements and I statements. Look at this slide for a moment and think about, have you done you statements or do you use I statements? What do you think you do more of, making you statements or I statements? A you statement creates a scenario of blame often. When you start a sentence with you imply that the other person is responsible for something. When someone feels accused of something, their natural reaction is to become defensive and resentful. Therefore, any further communication after a you statement will be a defensive stance rather than a productive stance. Using an I statement has three parts: the feeling, the trigger, and the need. Teaching and modeling I statements for kids is critical for creating a safe learning environment. I statements help students learn how to frame their thoughts and ideas. The goal is to focus solely on what kids are feeling and not what someone else may or may not be feeling, thinking, or doing. In addition, clear communication helps to build strong connections to develop among students and between adults and students. The I statement empowers kids with choices over their emotions by giving them choices about their words. New words lead to new thoughts, new behaviors, and new emotions. Here again is the three parts I statement. I feel plus the emotion plus when plus the event plus because and the thought about the event. So it's the feeling, the trigger, the need. Those are important aspects of using an I statement. Self-management. Helping your students learn what is expected of them by giving clear directions is very important. For example, instead of saying, please clean up the toys, say, please put the toy trucks into the red bin and the books back on the shelf. By explaining exactly what your students should do, you're giving them concrete examples of what you expect. Clean up your toys can mean different things to different children. And if students don't understand yet what that means for your classroom, it can be confusing and lead to frustration for both you and the students. The importance of routines. Children often will thrive in a well-ordered and predictable environment where daily routines such as arrivals and departures, center time, quiet times are dealt with consistently. Routines should support children's developing abilities to do things on their own, but should not be too complicated for preschoolers to learn and remember. The challenge is to develop appropriate daily routines for children which offer them a sense of consistency and security, yet remains flexible and responsive to the individual needs of each child. That's an important perspective to have. An organized and welcoming classroom is not only the foundation for quality teaching, but it also helps shape and define positive student behavior. Studies have documented that schedules and routines influence children's emotional, cognitive, and social development. For example, predictable and consistent schedules in preschool classrooms help children feel secure and comfortable. Also, schedules and routines help children understand the expectations of the environment and reduce the frequency of behavior problems, such as tantrums and acts of aggression. Activity schedules that give children choices, balance, and planned activities, for example, small versus larger groups, quiet times versus active times, teacher-directed versus child-directed, indoor versus outdoor, and individualized activities result in a higher rate of child engagement. Routines that lead to transitions. Teaching the routines is essential. The students won't know what is expected if they don't get a chance to practice. Start by explaining a specific routine. After you explain the routine, do a demonstration yourself so the kids can actually visualize the routine. Give the students a chance to practice the routine so they can remember it. The beginning of the school year is a critical time period for teaching and reinforcing the routine behaviors you expect from the pre-K students. Transition times are important because they can make the day seem smooth and well organized, or rushed and unpleasant. Allowing enough time so children make the transition gradually is the best way to avoid stressful situations. In addition to allowing a realistic amount of time for transitions to take place, it always helps to warn once in advance before a change in activities. This gives the children a chance to finish what they're doing, and the cooperation is more likely. It might also help move the process along if we comment favorably about the next activity and avoid situations where all the children are expected to do the same thing at the same time. Routines. Routines that require interaction between teacher and student or among students also serve to positively reinforce interpersonal communication and social skills. When setting routines and boundaries, bear in mind that children's behavior is a form of communication. Take a minute to look at why routines are good for children. Learning about consequences and responsibility. Before your students can learn how to be responsible, they need to understand what responsibility is. To help teach your students this important skill, the students need to understand the meaning of responsibility, discuss the meaning of it, as well as what responsibility might look like and sound like in your classroom. Another way for kids to learn responsibility is to have them act out different responsibilities in the classroom. You can help guide students during these role play scenarios, helping them understand the true meaning of responsibility in all types of situations. Responsible decision making. Many children make decisions based on emotions or the spur of the moment. It's a life skill to learn how to make thoughtful choices. It needs to be practiced and taught. Responsible decision making is so important because it fosters the ability to make positive choices about how we behave. Students being able to solve their own problems also gives them confidence and fosters independence. In addition, them being able to solve their own problems supports the belief that they can do difficult things, which is called self-efficiency. Students will be on the path to success by being able to solve their own problems and make responsible decisions. 3 ways children make decisions. Let's take a look at the 3 common ways children make decisions. They are no decisions, snap decisions, and responsible decisions. We will next look at each one individually. No decision. Many times this happens because children are afraid they will make the wrong decision. They doubt themselves and look to others to decide for them. Kids who fall into the no decision category need to be reminded that it's okay to make mistakes. Making mistakes provides an opportunity for learning and growth. Snap decisions. Generally speaking, making a choice between 2 food groups usually doesn't require you to weigh the pros and cons. It's not a decision that you have to think through in depth. However, it's not a good idea to make a snap decision about crossing a busy street. Safety and hurting others is something kids need to learn about and consider before making a decision. And that's where you continue to practice this in the classroom and in situations like on the playground or if you're going for a walk. Kids prone to making snap decisions benefit from learning to stop and think before taking action because there are usually some consequences that they may feel they do not like. Responsible decisions. It's important that children learn to make responsible decisions on their own. Sometimes kids need guidance from trusted adults to make a good choice. However, there will come a time when they need to rely on themselves to make the right choice. This is when knowing the decision-making process comes in handy. Relationship skills. Learning to successfully interact with others is one of the most important aspects of a child's development. Remember to keep a child's stages of peer interaction in mind. As was mentioned earlier, preschoolers typically move from parallel play, in which the child might be playing alongside a peer, but not with them, to associate play. The child should then move on to cooperative or group play, where the child plays together with other children and needs to communicate, cooperate, take turns, wait, and share. Based on a child's experience with others, these stages will vary among students. The use of play to develop social skills. During this time, children begin to be able to play games where they learn turn-taking and sharing, as well as how to adhere to the rules. What children learn through these playful interactions is manyfold. They are beginning to learn to interpret others' perspectives, to regulate their responses and interactions, manage impulse control, increase both their ability to wait and demonstrate patience, as well as their ability to share an object or event. Being able to follow rules and manage emotions is tough for young children. Supporting your students as you play games together is a great way to foster their social skills. Important tasks as a preschool educator. Important things to do. Understanding developmental milestones is an important aspect of working with young children. Learning and understanding how preschoolers develop social-emotional skills and competency will help you foster their emotional learning and determine what kinds of experiences to plan in your classroom and program. Consider the following in your daily work with preschoolers. Be responsive to children's attempts at interactions and build on what children say. Engage in frequent, developmentally appropriate social interactions with children and adults in your classroom throughout your daily experiences and routines. Follow each child's lead, cues, and preferences. Include emotion words in conversations with children. Make books available that discuss feelings and social interactions. Ask children meaningful questions about their actions, interests, events, and feelings. Encourage children to use their words and talk to their peers when conflicts arise. Use developmentally appropriate language and provide conversation models and cues for children to follow if they need to help solving a problem. Ensure you are sensitive to children's unique needs, experiences, and backgrounds. Reach out to children's families and be responsive to their beliefs and preferences. In summary, classroom environments should be a nurturing and supportive space that encourages positive interactions between children. It should be safe, stimulating, and developmentally appropriate. Relationships are essential to children's development because relationships enable children to safely explore their surroundings and learn how to be members of their social and cultural worlds. It is through relationships that children learn appropriate ways of responding to emotions and expressing their own feelings. Relationships in the preschool years help children learn to play, interact with others, and develop friendships. As preschoolers become more self-aware, they improve their ability to control their bodies during different activities throughout the day and engage in appropriate behaviors with their peers. Throughout the day, preschoolers will display a variety of emotions in different ways. Whether they are using verbal communication or facial cues, they are constantly improving their ability to manage and control their own emotions. It is important that children are provided with opportunities to practice a variety of skills to become more independent. So, remember to provide support to promote sharing and taking turns with materials. Encourage children to use their words and to talk with their friends to solve problems. Model developmentally appropriate language to help children deal with conflict or solve problems with each other. Try to incorporate children's interests and preferences into the classroom experiences and routines. Address the needs of all children in the classroom by using social stories or scripts for children who may have a hard time sharing materials with peers. Using an individual visual schedule for children who may need supports during transitions. Encourage children to express their thoughts and share their feelings about events or situations. Validate children's feelings and thoughts. Keep in mind that each child is unique and the social emotional development varies across the children. Your goal should always center on helping all children grow to their potential. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope it's been helpful for you. And there's always things online that you can continue to look at and learn about in regards to social and emotional development with preschoolers. Thanks again for listening.